Next up, please.
Aloha representatives, my name is Anora, and my number is 2585. I've heard in the media that like young adults support same-sex marriage, and I've heard Representative Chris Lee state that 80% of young adults in their 20s and 30s support same-sex marriage and this poorly worded bill. That is not true. Over the course of the past 3 weeks, we've created and mobilized a group of 2,000 young adults that oppose and have been actively fighting the passage of this bill. We have designed and made signs that you have seen waving in your districts. We have created and distributed a frequently asked question to help people understand this bill and how the legislators have circumvented the democratic process and abused the rules to claim that they obey the letter of the law but defile the spirit of our democracy. We have designed and produced flyers about the rally on Monday that was attended by thousands of people. We have assisted more than 1,500 people submit in-person testimonies. As our elected representatives, we voted for you to represent our voice. However, you have effectively silenced thousands of people across Hawaii with this special session process. Many working adults and neighbor islanders have been shut out of this process, and few neighbor islanders have been able to testify because they could not afford to fly in and take off of work. If you care about the people of Hawaii and wanted to hear the voice of the people you represent, then you would not have done this to them. If you believe that by passing this bill in the special session instead of a regular session, we will forget by election year in 2014, then you are naive. We will not forget what happened this week. There has been talk about the majority. Well, majority was what put you in office. You did not win your office with the votes of the minority.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Next up, please.
Hi, my name is Leilani Johnson. I'm a registered voter from Eva Beach. My number is 2476. I probably don't have anything new to say that you haven't heard already, but I do have my children here. This is Cody, she's 6. This is Caitlin, she's 8. And Azure is 7, and they are the reason that I'm here today to just speak up to oppose SB1. Oh, she's 8. I'm sorry, she's not 7. To oppose SB1 to protect their future. They currently go to New Hope Christian School, and but what about the families that are not able to send their kids to private schools? The parents that choose to send their kids to public schools, what about their rights to not have their children be taught about same-sex marriage? So that's why we're here. I'm also here on behalf of my family and the office of Dr. Mona Suzuki, and we all oppose SB1. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next testifier.
Aloha. My name is Ethan Lee, number 2680. I'm a registered voter from Pupukea, and I'm here to express my opposition to this session and to this bill. I believe this session is being rushed, and it's also neglecting to let the people decide on this very, very important issue, probably the most controversial issue of our time. I'm opposed to it also because of the lack to this bill, because of the lack of religious liberty protections in it. But above all, I'm opposed to it because of my 3 boys, and similar to the beautiful lady that was just speaking to you. My boys are 7, 5, and 2. And when I was getting ready to come down to the rally last Monday, I gathered them around me, and my wife and I, we told them that we were coming down to this rally to support traditional marriage. And we had to explain to them that other people were wanting to have a man and a woman marry. And my 5-year-old son just looked perplexed, just beyond him. And he said, in pure simplicity and pure innocence and love, but I love my mom and my dad. And that's the essence of family. Children, it's all about the keikis, about the children. They are entitled to be born within the bounds of matrimony between a man and a woman and to be raised by a father and a mother, because that's the only way that societies can be perpetuated and that healthy societies can raise up and continue to support this great state. The society is the foundation of this state, and without a healthy family in place, it's going to crumble. And that's my concern. I want to preserve this great state and the spirit of aloha that thrives here. Thank you.
Thank you. We are currently in the 2600 to 2800 block of testifiers. If you're in the 2800 to 3000, if you can start reporting to the reception desk at the auditorium. Next testifier, please.
Hi, my number is 2765, and my name is Eva Georges. I'm here to oppose the SB1. I didn't come here prepared with any notes. I just want to share from my heart the way I'm feeling. I think this is really unnecessary for all of this to be going on. I have a 13-year-old daughter and a 6-year granddaughter, and they've been asking me a lot of questions about all of this, and it's really hard for me to try to explain it to them. I have family that is gay and lesbians, but I love them. I really, really love them, and it's not about what they are. I just want the people to hear that this land was given to us by the King and Queen, and I would hate for it to be taken away by something really ridiculous. And I just wish that you guys would really stop this and stop rushing into this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up.
(2651) Jennifer Kajiyama. Aloha. I come before you as an attorney, as an educator, a mother, and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am vehemently opposed to Senate Bill 1, and I'm not opposed to this bill simply because of my religious values, but I'm opposed to this bill because of this special session, which looks like a legislative process that allows everyone to input and provide discourse and the best kind of laws that will benefit society, but this does not. I'm also opposed to this law because of the poorly worded, ambiguous, and unclear language that does not protect individuals, religious organizations, or people of religious faith. The religious exemption, specifically, I want to talk about, does not adequately protect religious organizations. Many churches, like have nonprofit organizations, such as religious schools, where I am currently an educator at, and these protections, unlike other states, are not found here in Senate Bill 1. Why is that? We look at 5 distinguished religious legal scholars, and many of them have submitted testimony before your body. 5 of these have specifically said, the time to protect religious liberty is now. The time to protect religious liberty is now. Thank you. I just have to say that with much emphasis. It is now, it is not later. There was a member in the committee who asked a question earlier. He said, well, why don't we just let the courts decide it? Why don't we let them decide it and make the language? But that is not the role of the judiciary body. The role of the legislative body is to make the laws. Now, according to these 5 other religious legal scholars, they've said that a religious entity, they highly warned and said that any carelessly or overly aggressive drafting could create a whole new set of problems for religious liberty if those believers who cannot conscientiously participate in implementing this new regime is forced to do so. They understand this. They have identified this. Please oppose Senate Bill 1 and look for HB 6. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, please come up.
Hi, my name is Lisa, number 2604. It is of great concern to me as to why this bill has been called into special session. I understand that Hawaii is the only state that is rushing into a special session as a result of the Supreme Court decision. If it is so urgent, then why aren't the other 34 states that do not permit same-sex marriage holding a special session too? What is the urgency? I am placing my trust and voice in you, the lawmakers, to uphold democracy in Hawaii. Please vote no and let the people be heard. By rushing into special session, you are not letting the people's voice be heard, and we are going to be subjected to a bill that has many loopholes and opens the door to other areas that are of major concern to me. Last week, I heard former judge and Pastor Ahu say something like, this bill is an attorney's dream. I know firsthand that there are people out there that are taking advantage of these loopholes in the law that are making it very difficult for innocent people and businesses. This is already happening in our current law. There is a tag team group of people that will call and literally bombard you with phone calls. Their purpose is to try and set you up to discriminate against them. They have no intention of using your services or facility, but their sole purpose is to provoke and entrap you. If they cannot get you on discrimination, then they will work on another way to get you, such as tax-exempt status. This group has an agenda to get you on something, and you are the target. Where is the justice? Why are we going to subject the people of Hawaii to this type of harassment? And I mean harassment. I ask you to think about this carefully, lawmakers of Hawaii. If this is already happening with the current laws, imagine what will happen after SB1 becomes law with all the current loopholes in it. My anger is not directed to the homosexual community. It is directed to the governor.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up, please.
Aloha. I'm number 2782. First of all, I'd like to say that I got nothing against gay people, okay? I have gay family members. I love them with all my heart. But the matter of the issue is this. Here in Matthew, chapter 18, verses 2 through 7, it says, "So Jesus called a child to come and stand in front of them and said, 'I assure you that unless you change and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. The greatest in the kingdom of heaven is the one who humbles himself and becomes like this child. And whoever welcomes in my name one such child as this welcomes me.' Then it goes on to say, 'If anyone should cause one of these little ones to lose his faith in me, it would be better for that person to have a large millstone tied around his neck and be drowned in the deep sea.' How terrible for the world that there are things that make people lose their faith. Such things will always happen. But how terrible for the one who causes them." So in other words, if anybody signs that bill, that's an automatic, you got to stand before God and answer to that. So you guys honestly should really think about that. Amen.
Okay, next up.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Heyer, number 2610, and a strong supporter of SB1 with no amendments. First off, please let me ask you to consider that you take the testimony that you've heard here and replace "the church" in quotations with "my church." I believe it's clear that the United States and Hawaii haven't selected or declared a national church. Respectable, recognized, and valid churches that operate here in Hawaii currently marry two loving same-sex people regardless of their sexual organs. Local churches cherish these unions as defined by God, as discussed and pronounced by their religious leaders in previous testimony. And I have heard this. The testimony clearly demonstrates that the view between different religious people, they are very genuine to their beliefs, differ regarding their opinion on same-sex marriage. The passage of this bill opens up state-defined definition to allow religious expressions present here in Hawaii while explicitly protecting clergy and churches. As much as people want to testify that their God is the correct God and have all the best rules and regulations, I please ask you that you not support their biased opinion and that you strongly support SB1 with me to allow freedom of religious expression of a marriage to be recognized. We've heard testimony with previous opinions that are not based in reason or on actual experiences regarding education, curriculum, family health, the rights of religious expression, and even voting rights. I can appreciate that they may believe in their intent, but please be grounded in reality. People are comparing me to childish, rapist, and anybody who knows me know that this is unfounded. To be lumped inside of this group of these abominable individuals is sick, and it doesn't describe me. It's not just.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up, please.
Aloha. It's a long night. My name is Lois Young. My number is 2687. I'm testifying to voice my opposition to SB1 and ask you to please vote no. I am born and raised and educated in Hawaii. My grandfather left China to come to Hawaii, and I'm grateful for his determination. I'm a longtime registered voter, self-employed taxpayer, and I call Wahiawa my home. I'm honored to testify today, and I'm thankful that I live in America, where we have freedom of speech and open dialogue with our elected officials. I cherish this Constitution right, for I know many nations who silence the voice of their people. We are at the precipice of decision-making for future generations, and my conscience urges me to take a stand and speak against the legislation of SB1, which will aggressively erode the very fiber of who we are. SB1 legalizes a preferred lifestyle and is not a civil right. SB1 attempts to silence and undermine businesses, organizations, individuals who believe marriage is between a man and a woman. They will be tagged as politically incorrect or as perpetrators of hate speech. We may even be dragged into court for expressing our beliefs.
Okay, thank you very much.
Wow.
Next up, please.
Hello. Chair Luke, Chair Rhodes, and members of the Finance and Judiciary Committees. My number is 2711. My name is Stephanie Coino. I am here in opposition of Senate Bill 1. I just turned 68 years old. I'm a grandmother. I'm a wife of 42 years. I have 2 children and 2 grandchildren. And I believe that the Senate Bill 1 has been rushed. It has been, it hasn't been properly vetted. It also doesn't protect the children and public accommodation. I also am here to represent the members of our congregation. I attend Mass at Our Lady of Sorrows Church in Wahiawa, and 1,567 members signed statements, and along with myself, and we each said, I am a Roman Catholic and voter in the state of Hawaii. I attend Mass at Our Lady of Sorrows Church in Wahiawa. I only support marriage between one man and one woman. Please vote no on same-sex marriage. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll take questions. Questions, Representative Har.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I please have Jennifer Kajiyama come up? I'm sorry.
Sorry,
evening,
I'm so
Ms.
short. I
Kajima.
have to
No,
get this step.
I am too. That's okay. Very good. Thank you. Thank you again for your testimony, and thank you for being here. Okay, you kind of talked about a lot of things very quickly in a short period of time, but your main point is public accommodations or religious organizations. Like, what exactly is your? Then you talked about other states.
Yes.
I know you try to get a lot in, but I'm trying to understand because then you talked about religious educational institutions as well. So what is your problem with that particular issue?
Hey, thank you, Representative Har, for allowing me to expand on my points. Yes, it was very rushed. I am very much opposed to the language that is currently in the bill. There is no specific exemption language that really protects the individual. It doesn't protect small business owners. It doesn't protect educators. It doesn't protect government officials. There is a document that's been published by the Institute for, let me get that. An Institute for Marriage and Public Policy, and they list over 13 examples where same-sex marriage and religious freedom, where they clash. And these areas I find in this bill where it's very problematic, and ultimately it's going to affect the individual who has a freedom of, or who has an opposition to the freedom of conscience that's existing. I know that HB 6 is proposed, and there's some, I think, very positive language that's included. Of course, I am first and foremost wanting to say kill the bill, but if this bill has to move forward, I want to say religious accommodations and protections need to be afforded.
Okay, but Ms. Kajiyama, you're an attorney, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so as an attorney, why do you feel, a person's First Amendment rights would still apply?
It does in a limited set of circumstances. And my main concern is that in the Hawaii's public accommodations laws, there is no religious exemption, none whatsoever. And so individuals that have a faith or something where they feel out of their truly religiously held beliefs, they would not be able to, they couldn't function as a business if they refused to allow individuals who maybe customers who violate their specific religious beliefs.
Right, but the litmus test for public accommodation is being held out to the public.
Yes, and that's exactly the point, being held out to the public. We know for religious organizations, right, that our purpose is to go out into the community. It's to help people. It's to act as Christ would act. And by doing so, we openly open our religious facilities to individuals who are not of our faith, and we happily do so. There's no... I hear people laughing, and that's fine, but there's no enmity or hatred in my heart. What I feel very deeply is what was said by Secretary of State Kerry when he said that religious freedom, it's a human fundamental right. It's a fundamental right. It's enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is the most translated and accessible document in the world. And this document says we have this right to freedom of religion and freedom of conscience.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ms. Kajiyama.
Okay,
Thank
any
you.
other questions? Representative McDermott.
Yeah. Thank you for staying so late. The freedom of religion with regard to the religious exemptions is what I'd like to ask you about. The First Amendment does protect that, but I think, is your concern that, yes, the First Amendment protects it, but by the time the people go through the multiple lawsuits and hiring the attorney and facing the pickets and the internet bullying, if you will, that they'll be broken out of business, and it just, there's no protection there unless they have the deep pockets and resources to defend that. Is that a fair characterization?
Exactly. That is exactly my sentiments. Yeah. The individual does not have protections, and maybe there is an individual with lots of money. I'd like to meet that person, but I'm not one of those people. And religious organizations, for the most part, they're nonprofit, and the proceeds and money that they receive go back into the community and into the programs that are there to develop and to better society.
So as an attorney, in your learned opinion, the ubiquitous wedding photographer we hear about would eventually win once he reached the United States Supreme Court after 10 years of litigation and hundreds and thousands of dollars in attorney fees, correct?
Yes, possibly.
But that's if he still is in business.
But that's if he still has money.
Yeah.
And if there's somebody, and if he has the determination and dedication to go through years and years and countless litigation and lawsuits. It is an unfair burden upon an individual of religious faith to take upon this cross that they have to bear. Instead, I would say let individuals who have truly held religious beliefs, allow them to hold their convictions to their heart and to conduct business as they would. I've heard someone say, well, you're going to lose business. That's bad, right? Aren't you in there for your business. But if they lose business and that's their choice, that's their freedom of, there's their accountability, their free agency, then allow them to do so. Because they have these beliefs, it would violate their very most integral parts of their heart. As a Christian, as a member of the Mormon Church, my religion isn't just something I do on Sunday. It is 24 hours. It's who I am individually, collectively. It's who I want to be, who I want to represent. And I can't just shut it off in a moment. It's the way that I feel like my Heavenly Father in Christ wants me to be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any members, any other questions?
Chair.
Representative.
Chair. Here.
Oh, Ward.
Yes, follow up
by
the same.
Representative Ward, go ahead.
Following Representative Har's question regarding exemptions, what would be the gold standard for religious exemptions?
Currently, what I see in HB 6 is very promising. I think it holds a lot of positive aspects to protecting religious freedom, but there are some areas that I find problematic. First, there are no protections for individuals. There's no protections for small business owners, small families, businesses that are owned by families. There's no protection for education laws or the consent of parents or even the notification of parents knowing about what's being taught. And there's also no protections for government officials. There are some language that's been proposed by those 5 law professors that have sent testimony and letters. And I'd like to just share, if that's okay with you, what they have actually suggested for language. The language that they have suggested states that, where did it go? Okay, here it is. The language that they suggest is that, first, either these two, the public schools shall notify a student's parent or legal guardian in advance and provide them an opportunity to review information about any curriculum related to human sexuality, marriage, or family life, and students shall not participate in such instructions without prior written consent of the student's parent or legal guardian. They also suggest another language. The public schools shall notify a student's parent or legal guardian
Excuse me, but this bill doesn't, there's nothing in it. The bill wasn't referred to the Education Committee. That's a battle you have to fight at the Board of Education. So I understand your concern, but it's not really, doesn't really directly
Chair, my
do
follow-up
anything
question.
to do with this
I wanted to
bill.
get the gold standard. I wanted you then to compare what you see as the gold standard to the Connecticut bill, if you're familiar with it.
Yes, I am familiar with the Connecticut bill, and again, I am speaking as an individual. I've talked with religious freedom scholars, and I have studied the issues, but I'm not an expert in this field, with that caveat. But what I do find lacking in the Connecticut bill, again, is that there are no protections for the individual. There's no protections for the small business owner. We might be protecting religious organizations as a whole, but the individual with those values and beliefs will be their rights could most likely be violated. There is specifically in that letter that was written, they are concerned about the individual. And in that testimony, they specifically say that, I have this down, the individuals who religiously believe that they cannot conscientiously participate in these new laws that are being created, that human liberty will be compromised, and this will violate their freedom of conscience, their religious conscience.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Kachiyama. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, I think you just touched on a point that I would like to ask the testifier about in regards to education. Have these other states, has a same-sex marriage law being passed, has that had a significant impact on their departments of education and the education system there? Which raises the question of, if this law is going to significantly going to significantly affect the Department of Education. I mean, we have had zero testimony from the Department of Education here in regards of whether that will affect them or not. In the states that you've looked at, in the language that they have addressed, did they introduce that language because there is an educational component to this measure?
There is definitely an educational component to this measure, and this is what we've heard from constantly from those who've been testifying. Where are the BOE and the DOE representatives? This will directly impact education. There's no way to go around this. This will change the fundamental unit of society and will alter fundamental rights. Therefore, when education is being taught, curriculum will change, and the effects will very much affect the children and the parents part of these programs.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Sure.
Representative Pilati.
Thank you, Chair. This is my very first question of the day. So thank you for being with us, Ms.
Kajiyama.
I think, and I'm going to help you out here, I think that the gold standard that Representative Ward might be wanting you to say is that in House Bill 6, they have part of the exemption, sincerely held religious beliefs, and that should be perhaps the standard that we apply and add to the exemptions. Is that correct?
Definitely, that is found in House Bill 6.
Okay, so sincerely held religious beliefs, would you want to extend that exemption to housing and lodging?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
And if I look at the bill...
Wait, she's got a question. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
I apologize.
so if it's correct to say that there are sincerely held beliefs, say not about this per se, but say about things like in vitro fertilization or premarital sex, that a landlord would be able to discriminate against a potential renter if it is known by that landlord that, one, the folks have either engaged in premarital sex or maybe considering wanting to have a family and they couldn't have a family, but we're looking at in vitro fertilization, that landlord, because of their sincerely held beliefs against those things, that they would then be able to discriminate and say, you know what, we're not going to rent to you.
Okay, if I'm understanding your statement correctly, from what I understand of House Bill 6, again, I'm not a drafter, I'm just reading through it, there are limitations. It extends to individuals, I think, for housing from 5 to 15.
Let me just say that, and then I'll finish this question because I don't...
Sorry. Okay.
Would you support a bill, language that would allow, based upon sincerely held religious beliefs, for a landlord to discriminate against a renter who they know may be engaging in premarital sex or may be considering in vitro fertilization because that is their sincerely held belief that those things are immoral? Would you support language like that in a bill?
What I would support is what is found in House Bill 6. I like how there's a threshold standard of 5.
So that's what's in House Bill 6. Thank you.
Representative McDermott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Back to the much less exciting topic of education. My contention all along has been, and as an attorney, I value your opinion on this, that the controversial issue policy, which is 2 paragraphs long and very nebulous and vague, once this becomes the law of the land, it's no longer controversial because it's the law of the land. And so would it be fair to say that once it's the law of the land, if you don't accept it, you're prejudiced? That's a correct statement.
Okay, thank you.
I agree with that statement, yes.
One last question. Are you aware that BOE Chairman Don Horner came today to testify and wasn't allowed to testify?
I think that is appalling. I think he should be here to direct his comments to this body.
Are you aware that I asked the chairman and the Speaker of the House to have him and Ms. Matioshi here via written letter?
I also find that appalling. I do not know when the people are asking for this why they have not been allowed to speak.
There's a reason they're not here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And let me just clarify.
Where are they?
Let me just clarify that the reason they're not here is
they're not here. Where are they?
The reason they're not here is they didn't sign up in time. And if we were going to let everybody okay.
Where was the Attorney General's sign-up sheet? Or Blake Oshiro's sign-up sheet? He didn't have a sign-up sheet.
He did. Okay, members, any other questions?
Yeah,
okay,
Chair.
Moving on.
Chair. I have a peaceful question.
That would be nice.
A peaceful question. It's to the early childhood educator. I'm sorry I didn't get her name, but was she one who may have just left, the early childhood educator? I see no one has claimed that title, so she must have left. Mr. Jeremy, is Jeremy still here? I am. Jeremy, you made the statement, which I thought was profound. You said, let us be very practical and grounded in reality and what we think about each other, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to ask you what I was going to ask the childhood educator, because there's an area that is rather confusing, and I need to understand the rationale and the logic on the notion of gender fluidity. It's hard to understand the definition, but it's the operationalization of the process of grades 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Could you explain how gender fluidity comes now to be a concept that some people don't understand very well?
Although I don't experience it, and I cannot talk about it from my own personal experience, I can say that within society, as it is now, some people, I'll talk about how I learned perhaps about my sexuality. I didn't feel that I was a negative, bad person who did these terrible acts, and this is as a child before I did anything sexual. But when I had these feelings, I felt that I was going to be judged, and I am judged for after I came out, for and I was going to burn in hell for eternity for the rest of my life. Eternity, I mean forever and ever and ever. So as a kid, I was mortified by this idea. I didn't feel that I was not normal, but I think coming to terms with that is a process. And I'm talking about sexuality, perhaps not my identification with gender, but I think that it's similar in the way that you come to terms to it and you grow, you learn about yourself and you learn about society and you learn about how you fit into society. And the labels come with it from our own societal structure.
In that stage or in that process, then the notion of the bathroom protocols came to mind. And I know it was the childhood educator that would answer that, but are you familiar with the bathroom protocols that New Jersey and California have just put in place? And you have a...
no, I'm not familiar with the details of either of the
That's a
states.
little bit clinical and hard to understand.
Members, any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy.
Mr. Chair.
Vice Chair Har.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I please have number 2585, I think, Honora Ng? Good evening, Ms. Singh. Thank you for being here this late hour. Ms. Singh, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
25.
25. Okay, you were very passionate in your testimony. You and your group, you guys are making posters and all of this stuff. I mean, what's the big deal? I'm just like, I don't understand, because it's like I keep being told that, why is there this distrust in government from your generation?
Well, okay, so I've been voting since I was like 18. I never really got involved other than just putting my vote down, you know, for my legislators and whatever else. But when we kind of, like, me and my group of my friends, you know, like, we heard about the same-sex marriage stuff, you know, and our church told us to, like, look into the bill. You know, they didn't tell us what to do about it, but we looked into the bill. And, like, when we read it, we were kind of, like, horrified, and we didn't really understand what was going on. And so we kind of created a group to understand what was happening, you know. And, like, our group grew really big, really fast. And a lot of us, I guess, like, I think a lot of us, like, really believed in democracy, because that was kind of what we learned, you know, like, when we grew up in school and stuff. They taught us, you know, like, this is what happens through the democratic process, you know, and we vote for our legislators. They represent us, they hear us, you know, and, like...
But Ms. Singh, this is the democratic process.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Wait, no, so, excuse me, wait. So I'm just trying to understand. So can you please explain? Because some would argue that this is the democratic process. So I'm just trying to understand from you and your friends, why is it that you felt the need? Or, you know, I'm hearing a lot from your generation that this is about distrust in government and all of that.
Okay, so we've established that you mistrust government. Is there a question that has something to do with this bill?
Okay, so...
well,
oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, like, as we, like, went through this, you know, and, like, a lot of us were kind of horrified by what happened, you know, like, and we didn't feel like our voice was being heard, you know, and, like, we did everything that we could, and we submitted our testimonies. We came here, we waited to testify, and, like, we came here and we thought that we would be heard and that the representatives, you know, would, like, listen to us and represent our voice, and we don't feel like that is possible, you know. And I mean, we have people that came here, you know, like, they miss work, you know, to come here. I have a friend that lost her job, you know, because she really believed in this. And she, you know, we have people whose cars have been towed, you know, like, they come down here, they miss school, they miss work, whatever. And, like, we have kids sleeping out in the cement floor so that on Halloween, so that their parents can come here and testify and protect their future, you know. And a lot of, like, I think the underlying message too for, like, let the people decide is not just like, oh yeah, you know, we want to, like, try and take away rights from other people. It's just that we don't feel like that our legislators can adequately represent our voice, and we don't believe.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let me just point out that we're about 10 minutes away from our 51st hour of testimony. To my knowledge, there has never been a bill in the history of the state of Hawaii that has had a hearing this long.
This is our only hearing.
We hear you loud and clear. Now, whether everyone will agree with you in the end, I don't know yet. But everyone has gotten to say 51 hours worth of
None of the neighbor islands have
testimony.
testified.
And
because they can't. They can't come here. And this is our only opportunity for a hearing. If it was a
We have
regular
provided-
session,
we
we
have
would have
bent
another
over
hearing
back-
after you made amendments.
Excuse me. We have bent over backwards to provide opportunities to testify on an order of magnitude that has never been witnessed in this state before. So
With all due
I have a
respect,
very
Mr.
hard
Chairman,
time.
we have not bent over backwards. The rules were as long as you had a number, you could testify. And now we've changed the rules in the middle of the day. That's not true, Mr. Chairman. We have not bent over backwards.
Mr. Chairman, Thursday night you tried to shut them down by making them stay all night, so don't say you've been over backwards.
Okay. Well,
I've been here for 5 days. Every single day the rules change.
I do get to say something once in a while on this committee, and what I would say then, if you're saying that you would have preferred not to have 51 hours of hearings and it was all a waste of time, then we can shut the hearing down right now if you'd like to. Okay, let's move on. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, next testifier.
Mr. Chair, I did have a question.
Representative Foley, please be quick.
I have two quick questions.
Okay.
Are you being paid to be here tonight, Honora?
No.
Do you know that we're being paid to be here tonight?
I actually didn't go to work today, so I wouldn't miss my number.
But do you know we're being paid to be here tonight? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next testifier.
Mary Arizimi, 2732. I understand that some of the representatives told me you weren't being paid, that only the skeletal staff was being paid for the 76 offices, and I don't think it can be 25,000. Do you know the figure, Chairman
I'm sorry,
Rhodes?
could you tell us your name and what your
It's Mary
registration number is?
Arizimi, and it's 2732. Okay, I'll get started with my
2732. Thank you.
testimony. But I wanted to know if it really was just 25,000. I can't believe that. Anyway, this bill is beginning the removal of our constitutional rights. All over our country, the courts are letting the First Amendment freedoms be trumped by gay rights. As they silence our free speech and freedom of belief, down the road, this will apply to everyone, and that's my concern. To our gay friends and gay community, we repeat, we have no hate or any animosity for you. I know your thumb is down, but I'm saying many of us have gay friends we enjoy, and they enjoy our friendship as well. We have different beliefs, but we can live with diversity. You know, we can get along if they would just straighten out this bill. What we are opposed to is this lack of equal tolerance for free speech in the courts, which has been shown all around the country once this law passes. To quickly reference, for lack of time, the Wildflower Inn of Vermont, where they were sued and had to pay $30,000 total for their just saying that they were old-time Catholics, and they told the lesbians that we're not denying you the service, please come in, but we just want you to know where we stand. And so they had 2 rounds of being investigated, and then they had to pay $30,000. Then about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, the schoolgirls were complaining about the transgender in their restroom, and the school officials told the girls, look, if you complain anymore, you're going to be punished. So again, the transgenders' rights were given privilege over the schoolgirls' rights to use the girls' bathroom. These kind of things are going on. And then for videographers, advertisers, people who are in the communications field.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Good evening, Chairman Rose and Luke and rest of the representatives. My number is 2725, and my name is Jean Leong, and I oppose SB1. I represent myself, and I'm 78-year-old registered voter with 3 daughters and 12 grandchildren. Hopefully what I say makes some sense to you. This bill, S1, is not an equality issue. One man and one man is not one man and one woman. They are not equal. The natural law is that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. In 1998, voters passed that legislators reserve marriage for opposite-sex couples. I noticed that lines were drawn across the whole bill we voted for. Our vote did not count. it was like a kick in the face. There's a saying that says, government of the people, by the people, for the people. I just don't understand this. Actually, I came to talk about how each of us appeared. We didn't just appear, we were first a cell, then where did it come from? It had to be someone who created us, someone who's all-knowing, created us with different biological and sensual parts. And you either came out one woman or one man. We, men and women, complement each other as husband and wife, lovingly knowing that there's a possibility of bringing a child into the world. It is an awesome creation. The union binding, loving, and sacramental.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Please vote no.
Number 2729, Paula Tanaka. I've made a mistake. I'm changing the stance of my written testimony. After hearing the many testimonies for and against this bill, after observing the actions of many people for and against this bill, after watching and hearing the Senate on Monday and listening to your questions and comments at this hearing, after asking others for any last-minute promptings for me to include in this, one of the last testimonies of this hearing, I can come up with only one stance. You vote no. Do not let it go to the people to vote. This is God's command, not ours. It says in Romans 2 that God's law is written on all people's hearts in the form of our consciences, which is our God-given sense of right and wrong. Any decisions we make, we know to the very core if we are choosing what is right or wrong. There's an old Indian adage, your conscience is like a triangle. When you violate your conscience, you get a sharp jab in your gut. You are warned and you make it right. But when you quit heeding to your conscience, quit making the right decisions, the corners of your triangle get rounded. Eventually, you have virtually no conscience at all, and sadly, you feel no more pain. Comparing that triangle to the innate conscience God has put in your heart, if you do not do what is right, you are turning away from God as well. Redemption and renewal of that broken conscience are available through Jesus Christ. But I'm not here to preach the gospel today. Today, I am simply asking you to quit thinking so hard and to please listen to that triangle in your gut, your conscience, your innocence at the very core, and you will know what you are supposed to do. The Bible states repeatedly in both testaments that homosexuality is an abomination to God. Never does it say that God hates the homosexual. God does not hate the homosexual. He only hates the act of homosexuality. Get a grip. The truth is written in your heart. Please hear God and vote no.
Thanks very much. Next,
Thank
please.
you, all of you. Thank you for listening.
Audience members, again, if we could refrain from making comments on both sides so that we can be respectful to the testifiers and the members as well.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Chairs Rode and Chair Luke and committee. I just want to say thank you guys so much. Can we give them a round of applause? Really, thank you. These are our elected officials. They're working hard. They're tired. We're all tired. We got to learn to respect people, even if we don't agree with them, and honor them. So my name is Max Fowler, 2705, and today I'd like to testify as a dad of 3 children, Miley, Sky, and Cruz, 9, 7, and 5 years old. And, you know, I teach my kids, we all do, we teach them to stand up for what they believe in. We want them to stand passionately for what they believe in. And, you know, the other night, my daughters wanted to come with me. It was 9:45. They came in their PJs. They've been watching on the Olelo. They're captivated. They kind of don't really get it. They're getting it, but they're involved. They're participating. They're zoned in on this. They're zeroed in. The other thing that we try to teach our children is the word integrity. We want our kids to be able to know that how they play the game is as important as winning the game.
And so I ask you, our elected officials, a few questions. Is there integrity in this process? The process of the rush special session? Is there integrity in passing a bill that we know is full of holes, that we've heard from the experts that it's full of holes, only going to lead to lawsuits? Is there real integrity in switching around the plain language of the 1998 constitutional amendment? Is there real integrity there? We want to passionately stand up for what we believe in, but we want to have integrity in the process. So I ask you, show the children of Hawaii that you can act with integrity. I humbly ask this. Thank you very much. Please vote no.
Thank you very much. Before we go on, can I just need to announce, ask anybody whose registration number is between 3,000 and 3,200, please come down and check in. Between 3,000 and 3,200. Please proceed.
Aloha, members of the Judiciary Finance Committee. Alan Cardenas, 2669, submitting testimonies on behalf of Transformation Hawaii as pastor of Hope Chapel Nanakuli and president of Transformation Hawaii. Mahalo first and foremost for the opportunity to share the testimony. I would also like to recommend the special session Purple Heart to your staff here. Your staff has been wonderful. Sunny, Kevin Corona, bunch of professionals. So you guys are unsung heroes, keeping order here. Mahalo to all of you. As we gather here tonight, I just want to ask all of you on the committee, don't push the special same-sex marriage bill on us like it was pushed on you. I know a number of you didn't want to be here, but obviously it was pushed on you. Don't ignore us and disrespect us like the people on the other side, on the Senate side. I want to ask all of you to just think about, don't let Hawaii be the only legislative body in the entire world that is rushing to destroy centuries of Hawaii's tradition, culture, and values in a number of days. We want to ask all of you not to make this a dog and pony show, but really to listen to the hearts, the voice, and the testimonies of the people. Be the good house. Be the people's house. Let this be our house. Let the voices be heard. Listen to the people. Kill the bill. Kill Bill SB1 and let the people vote. Mahalo.
Thanks very much. Next up, please.
My number is 2759, and I also have a number 3332. Aloha, my name is Jonah Ka'auvai, Jonah Kuhio Kalani Ana Ole Ka'auvai, and I stand in strong opposition of SB1. I'm a local boy born and raised on Kauai. I'm a graduate of Kamehameha Schools and Boston College, double majoring in business and philosophy. I live in District 51. Chris Lee is my representative. These are the facts. The legislature will never, mark my words, people of Hawaii, never let the people vote on this issue and put this on the ballot in 2014. Marriage is not a civil right. Homosexuality is not genetic, and it's been said over and over, rather a lifestyle choice. So this is not a civil rights issue. SB1's religious exemptions from the public accommodations law only works for religious organizations, businesses, and individuals who want to solemnize and service same-sex marriage couples. All the rest of the people are going to be screwed in the process and leave it up to the liberal court system of Hawaii. Same-sex marriage is the most grossly mainland, westernized, cultural, colonial, haole idea and imposition on Hawaii's people since the overthrow of the Hawaiian kingdom. Homosexual marriage was tolerated but not normalized in the pre-missionary Native Hawaiian society. According to the 2000 census, only 35% of Hawaii's population was Christian, so 65% is not. The Hawaii United for Marriage website's poll says 54% of the people support marriage equality. So why can't the people vote? If you have heard over 1,000 testifiers and nearly 18,000 written testimonies, and it's going to be a slap in the face of the people if you guys come to decision tonight. If this ends tonight, that will be a slap in the face of the people. Kill this bill, and if you guys even have any guts, you guys will put it on the ballot. Thank you.
Next, please.
Hello, everybody. Number 2747, Willie Kaili. I just like to say that, you know, I'm against SB1, but I'm going to call myself one rat today. I want snitch. Because why? Because I'm about to tell all of you the truth. From what's being said outside, what's being said on Facebook, what's being said on the circle, is that if you kill this now, you guys are guaranteed by the majority of Hawaii your chairs. Bottom line. Am I correct, family? From Facebook, from Circle, millions of people said if you kill this bill now, you guys are guaranteed you guys' seat. Not only that, if you guys like go for governor, he's out too. If you guys like go for the Senate, they out, majority of them is out, according to this. The people. You love us, we love you. And you know what? You don't need go out there and do your stuff, because you know what? We're gonna do it for you. Because you would listen to us. Love you guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Next, please.
My name is Danielle. I'm number 2626.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, Danielle, number 2626.
2636?
2626.
2626. Okay.
I think I really first just wanted to. Oh, that's okay. Okay.
Can you stop the timer, please, Malia? Thank you.
I first just really wanted to apologize just to all the legislators and to both sides of the parties for any insults and just acts of anger and wrath and hatred. Just to everyone, I'm really sorry. You know, this whole thing just sorry. Yeah, I just ask for forgiveness for everyone. And I really don't have anything new to say, but I knew that I wouldn't be okay if I didn't try to ask to not pass this bill. And so just for Hawaii, for our future.
Hawaiian parents. I am Hawaiian, but that's not true. This is a huge problem for the Hawaiian people. I personally feel that it is wrong because it will change a lot of things if this bill is passed. Schools like Kamehameha would have to give them a chance, even if they're not Hawaiian. And Kamehameha only accepts people or kids that have Hawaiian blood. It would take away from the real Hawaiian kids who's trying to get an education. Kamehameha is only one of the few things for people with Hawaiian blood can have. It is possible for this person with no Hawaiian blood to take the land through the Hawaiian homestead and to take the land that is meant for the actual Hawaiian people. Sorry. I strongly oppose SB1. Please vote no for my brothers and sisters and also for my future. In here, I see quite a few rainbow lace, but let me tell you, there are more than 50 people opposing SB1 to every one of those rainbow lays right outside upstairs. It's simply math. The people want you to vote no. We the people
Thank you very
oppose
much.
SB1. Sorry.
Next, please.
Good evening. My name is Missy Smith, and I respectfully ask that you very carefully...
Sorry, could you tell us your number, too?
Number, right. Sorry. 2706, I think. Right now I'm so tired, numbers don't stick. So forgive me if that's not quite right. It's really important to me that you change my dot. When I registered online, you could support, you could oppose, you could comment only. And on Monday and on Halloween morning, I was a very adamant opponent. I am changing my dot to comment only because I trust you implicitly to make the best decision that you can. I apologize publicly to the governor who I now love. Whoa, okay, I can't believe I said that. A week ago, I would have thought, what happened to you? Okay, I'm sorry, Governor. You are doing a good thing, and there is urgency here because there is inequality, and I couldn't see it. Honestly, I didn't even know that you didn't get federal benefits. I thought civil unions, great, why aren't you happy? Okay, I had no idea. None, zero. And after I really learned how to love, which I learned, by the way, from the faces that are wearing rainbow lace in this room. Okay? I learned that from you. Thank you. Okay? After I learned that, I'm a lot more comfortable standing on the street, making all the navy blue shirts say, is she playing the field? What's going on? She's standing with them. I even held your sign today that had a rainbow flag on it, okay? I might be ostracized, but so were you for a long time.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
I'm a 16-year-old and have been a student of Kamehameha schools since kindergarten. Aloha, my name is Dayton, and I am number 2681. And I oppose Bill SB1. I'd first like to thank you guys for giving me the chance of talking in front of you today. I would just like to start by sharing some thoughts on behalf of the youth of Hawaii. I live in District 48, represented by Jessica Woolley, and recently she told my Uncle Shane that it's her job to support the minority. I'm here to remind her that as a Native Hawaiian, I am a minority. As a Native Hawaiian, I'm a minority in my own native land. SB1 does not protect Native Hawaiians. It is flawed. You have heard from so many legal experts that it is flawed. The presumption of parentage allowed in this bill will open the doors of Kamehameha schools to children that are not Native Hawaiians. Every year, thousands of Kanaka Maoli apply for admission, but few spots are available. If you allow this bill to pass, you will essentially take away these limited spots and give them to non-Native Hawaiian children that claim to be Native, but they are not. And this is a gift that is given by Bernice Puahi Bishop. This will dilute our bloodline and steal the limited benefits of Keiki Hawaii. Also, one of the ladies behind me in line said that us Hawaiians don't deserve our own school. Please preserve what limited benefits we Native Hawaiians are afforded. And please don't oppress us like what has happened in the past. Be on the right side of history and vote no. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Next, please.
Aloha, by the way.
Aloha, no.
2719, Joshua Smith. I am a father of 6, a husband, a university professor, a pilot, and a rocket scientist, at least by education, though not profession. And I am here to talk with you about something specifically, And unfortunately, my mind blanked at that moment, so it's not like I'm really all that smart. But I wanted to talk with you briefly, legislators, about something, and the way that you decide from this moment forward will have consequences that reach around the world. I hope you recognize the severity of this moment. First, I want to share with you something that I learned as a little boy. It's called the Pledge of Allegiance. Perhaps you remember it. It says, "I pledge allegiance to that flag right there, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all." Now, Representative Nishimoto and others may find that incredulous that I would say that. However, liberty and justice for all, indivisibility. We have become a state divided. We have contention in this room. We have contention in these halls. We are not filled with the spirit of aloha that we should. Brothers and sisters of whatever race or religion or ethnicity or creed, we don't have to do this. There is a better way. We would believe, we've been told that there's only two options, either liberty, religious freedoms, or equality. But I submit respectfully that there is a third way. Time, unfortunately, will not permit me to talk about that. Perhaps questions will. If not, it will be publicized. But I submit that there is a third way. I commit my reputation, my position, perhaps my friendships, to ensuring that we have both liberty and justice. I respectfully submit this. Again, my name is Joshua Smith. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Aloha, my name is Suzanne Young, number 2701, also as Suzanne King. I am Native Hawaiian. My partner Tambri and I have been together for 32 years. We have a 13-year-old daughter, and we're married in 2009 in Massachusetts. People say this issue can wait till 2014. It cannot. Every day without marriage equality, my family and many others are unprotected and not treated equally. I cover Tambri and Shiler's medical through my company. When the Supreme Court ruled in June and the IRS confirmed our Massachusetts marriage, I received over $1,600 in pre-tax savings this year alone returned to me. This benefit was not only a financial benefit to me, but my company as well benefited from this. Unfortunately, other LGBT families cannot receive this benefit because Hawaii only has civil unions, which provide state benefits, not federal benefits. Passing SB1 this year ensures that families and employers get this benefit retroactively applied to January 1. Our family's been here every day listening to all these people criticize our family and our daughter. It's not kind, it's not Christian, it's cruel, and it's hurtful. It's also shameful that people who have come before you, who are attorneys, educators, and experts, are providing incorrect information. What I said in line to the people that were in front of us was that Native Hawaiians have nothing to worry about with regard to 572-C. It is absolutely incorrect that it will transfer Native Hawaiian ethnicity to children of same-sex couples. KSBE, DHHL, and OHA all require ethnicity to be verified through biological, blood, or natural parents. This information is readily available for the public on the websites. You have been misled. We need our federal rights. Please pass SB1. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Aloha, legislators. My name is Shiler Young, and I'm 13 years old. My parents are Tambri and Suzanne Young. My moms have been together for 32 years.
Sorry, can you tell us your number, please?
Oh, my number is 2700.
Thank you.
They weren't granted the same benefits that are given to every other straight married couple. Our family had to pay $1,500 to the government this year. If you multiply that by the 4 years that I've been here with my moms fighting for our rights, that's $6,000. So what if their kids will have to learn and accepted in schools? Families like mine are already in our schools. Many people say that I will be weird, but I am a member of the Honor Society, have a 4.0 GPA, and my first film was in the Hawaii International Film Festival and is being considered for the New York Film Festival. It is the government's business to ensure our family is treated the same as all other governments and that we are provided equal rights under the law as required by the U.S. Constitution. And so I ask you to support families like mine and to vote to pass marriage equality bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Aloha, legislators. My name is Tambri Young. I am the wife of Suzanne and mother of Shyler. Some of you know me, and I'm sure many of you know where I
give us your number, please?
2699.
Thank you.
Many of you know that, of course, I stand in strong support for this measure for families like mine and many others in the Hawaiian community, and I am Hawaiian, that won't come down here and testify for fear of a lot of what is being said about Hawaiians and about where this bill is coming from. It's important to look at, and I know that many of you legislators will and are looking at the bill and realize that it is about civil rights and the rights that need to be afforded to us under the Constitution. Yes, getting marriage here would allow us to get those federal benefits. Unfortunately, some of the religious exemptions aren't going to satisfy the religious community. But I think if you really read the bill, it allows them the right to not have to solemnize same-sex marriage within their church and not have to recognize that. But let's support those religious institutions that do allow for same-sex marriage. In closing, what I want to say is that I want to say thank you for those of you that will rise in support of this measure, this bill, because you can see how important and how families like mine need this. I also want to say thank you for those of you that will rise in support, but with reservations. I understand the pressure that you're under, but I know that you understand the rule and the laws. And I also want to thank those who will stand in strong or opposition to this bill, because you've given us all of us, the opportunity to express how we feel about this. Please support SB1 for my family. Thank you.
Very much. Excuse me. Next, please.
Good evening. My name is Timothy Nishida, number 2647. I've just come from visiting my wife at the rehab hospital. I've been here for about 4 days trying to get into this hearing. I'm so blessed that I was able to come tonight. I ask that you would kill this bill. I'm born and raised here, grew up in Waianae. I'm 58 years old, never had an opportunity to come before a committee like this. And my strong opposition is that where I grew up, this kind of stuff would not be tolerated. I ask that you would protect the churches, protect the businesses from this law that is unfair. It's just not, it's not fair for those that have their rights to practice how they worship in their church. So I ask that you don't turn our state into another Sodom and Gomorrah. I find it so incredulous that if any of you sitting on this panel is Christian, could find it in your heart to vote yes on this bill. It totally goes against the foundational teachings of your faith. I really like to know how you can justify voting yes on something like this. I hope that one day I can be sitting in your seat and vote my convictions and sleep good at night and not have to worry about what my church family is thinking about me turning cold against God's word. Thank you so much for your time. God bless.
Thank you. Next, please.
Aloha Chairs Rhodes, Luke, and esteemed committee members. My name is Lawrence Lee, and my number is 2714. I am not a religious person, and I speak on behalf of myself and my family as a non-religious voice. While I stand in opposition to SB1, I am not against those in the LGBT community. In fact, I would like to present a solution that may achieve a greater goal sought by the LGBT community: equal rights and protections in all 50 states. Mobilize your supporters. Let's create a new movement. Challenge your supporters to stand alongside with you for equal rights under civil unions by entering into civil unions themselves. Let them present themselves at the federal level as opposite-sex couples in civil unions seeking federal benefits, where the opposition would have a difficult time find it difficult to deny such benefits. Let's give Senators Schatz and Hirono some ammunition to work with. Let's build a critical mass of civil unions whose lack of federal benefits can no longer be ignored. Let's be the state who goes down in history as the one that champions gay rights across the United States. You want to talk about revenue benefits? How awesome would it be if Hawaii were the premier destination for LGBT supporters to engage in a righteous act of civil disobedience while also celebrating their love? SB1 is not the correct vehicle for LGBT rights in Hawaii. I implore those in favor of SB1, do not allow this bill to become an irreversible wedge between the two opposing sides when we have an opportunity to work together for a greater cause. Under the plan I've set forth, one thing will be clear. For every straight couple who stands by you by entering into a civil union, you can count on their support. How awesome would it be to live in a Hawaii where the LGBT community can focus their minds and attention toward counting the large number of friends and allies in their community, instead of the status quo where you're counting the numbers of opposers and haters. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please.
Aloha, my name is Gerald Adams. My number is 2931, and I am in opposition of this bill. I'm a father of 6. I'm a native Hawaiian, and as a native Hawaiian, my ancestors were the first ones that were brought here, not by coincidence, not by luck, but it was by my father's divine providence that they were brought here. We worship one God. We serve this God, and his name was Io. And I'm not here in opposition to my gay and lesbian brothers and sisters. I love each one of you. I'm not here in opposition of any of you lawmakers, but I am here in opposition of the evil and demonic forces that are driving this legislation. Many of you will scoff and laugh and say, this guy must be crazy. We don't believe in that. But I reassure you, he believes in you. He is evil and he is wicked, and his name is Kepalo, and that's what my ancestors called him. He is the evil one, and he is driving this legislation. And I'm here to tell all of you that I pray the blood of Iesu Christo over these hearings, and I reclaim these hearings in the name of my father, Io, and in the name of my 6 children. And I just thank you for your time, and God bless all of you. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Next, please.
Greetings, members of the House, Judiciary, and Finance Committees. My name is Pio Suagodine, and my number is 2856. I'm a registered voter from District 51 in the China Lakes, Kailua, and I stand in opposition to SB1 for 2 reasons. I believe in diversity and equality, but not at the expense of democracy and morality. Morality, as we know, is the difference between right versus wrong, truth versus a lie. Can I ask the representatives who are for SB1 if you could stand with me, please? Is that possible? Is that something I can ask? Okay. Well, like you, I'm in a position of authority. With authority comes accountability that requires our responsibility to serve the people in our community, district, and congregation. It is your civic duty and responsibility when you are sworn into office to lay aside your personal convictions and political agendas to represent the greater good of the people. I appeal to you to please recant your yes vote and allow the voice of the truth to be placed on the people in the vote. Our morality is not for sale. Do the right thing by standing up for truth and democracy. Let the people vote as you empower and equip us to make an educated and informed decision on this most controversial and critical issue. Secondly, allowing the people to vote will protect and preserve the legacy of our land and the heritage of our people. Our state motto declares the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. I plead with you, be pono by doing what is pono. so that we may all live pono. Let the voice of truth, the voice of democracy, the voice of freedom, and the voice of the people determine the truth for or against in a vote. May God's peace be with you as you decide the fate of our island people. My name is Pio Sua Gorine, and I stand in opposition of SB1. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Next, please.
My name is Tamara Bitanga. My number is 2925. I am in strong opposition of SB1. I grew up in Kailua, Hawaii, and I had a lot of difficulty in growing up due to some boundary issues with my parents. So I know that boundaries are made for our good and not bad. So I ask that you folks would kill this bill. Thank you.
Sorry, next. Thank you. You guys got it all figured out.
Aloha, my name is Candace Leonani Pui Ilihau, and my number is 2808. When I was thinking of what to say tonight, there was a lot of avenues that I could have taken as a middle school teacher, as a mother of 2 young children, and as a high school ministry leader. When I prayed, I felt like that I needed to come before you humbly to remind you of what a democracy is. The first 3 words from the Constitution are "we the people." In Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, he says, "We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth." Additionally, the first principle from the 7 principles of the Constitution says popular sovereignty. This is the principle that the authority of the government is created and sustained by the consent of its people, or elected representatives ruled by the people, who are the source of all political power. As I stand here today and listen to testimony after testimony, it is clear to me that the people, overwhelmingly so, are against this bill. Now, if passed, you House reps are saying, screw the people. Doesn't that go against everything our forefathers have fought for? Isn't that unconstitutional? Let us vote. Let the people decide. Mahalo and God bless.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening. My number is 2953. My name is Gail Kyoko Tamashiro, and I strongly oppose SB1. I'm 50 years old, and I've been a registered voter since the age of 18, and I've exercised my right to vote in every election. I feel strongly and believe that this issue should not be decided by a select few, and it deserves more consideration than just a few short days. I question why we're rushing into this when no other state is following suit. Please allow us to vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Hi, my number is 2861. My name is Dolly Jane Arham. I am opposing this bill. Outside, we're waiting a while. We've been here for so many days already. There've been a lot of, bad things happening outside, people getting flags in their faces, people being shoved. I don't think that's a good thing for both sides, yeah. But I feel that you guys should just kill this bill. It's not, I'm thinking of like my grandchildren. I have one granddaughter actually, and I really don't think that I would want her to be forced to be learning stuff that I'm against. So I ask that you kill this bill, and a lot of people would be happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kuroda, was that the last?
Hi, my name is Dean Hamer.
Hang on just a second. Mr. Kuroda, was that the last testifier in the 26 to 2800 group, or the 3,000 to 28 to 3,000? Okay. Why don't we go ahead and just take some questions from members at this point for the group that just testified.
Okay, go ahead, Representative McDermott.
I have a question for Jonah. Thank you for waiting. I saw you out there for 4 or 5 days. I just wish you would have. I just wish you would have a little more passion in your delivery.
Thank you, Representative McDermott.
Jonah, I've asked this question many times, but it's over many days. So again, the Hawaiian culture and the other Polynesian cultures have a history of the Mahu and Samoan culture, Fa'afafine, and they're part of the family, correct?
Right.
But they've never been elevated to the status of the man and woman. Is that correct?
Correct.
With regard to marriage, correct?
Correct.
And you love the Haole guys, I know, right?
Amen, bro. My mom is pure German.
Okay, and I'm your
Amen.
brother. Do you view this as a Native Hawaiian, which you identified yourself as a purely Western ideal that's been foisted upon your community?
Absolutely. I mean, I cannot think of something that would dismantle a culture more than that is so opposing to a culture steeped in values. You know, a lot of people think Hawaiians say twinkle, twinkle, little star, and they ended up in Hawaii. But let me tell you, they were guided here to Hawaii. They were guided by a single God. His name was Io. And they came here, yes. I mean, I'm going to stand and testify that I'm a conquered people. Conquered not only, I conquered first by Pa'au. My family, my people who first came here is conquered by Pa'au. Then they were conquered by the missionaries' children.
So, as you understand it, although tolerance and love is part of your culture, this concept is inconsistent with your culture.
Well, we tolerate, definitely. We have that mahu in our family. We all have it in our Hawaiian family. My dad is one of 16. I'm one of the last of the 50 grandchildren. And when we have family reunions, you're talking about 2,000-3,000 people. At least at my wedding, we had 2,000 people. But we love them. But it's not the accepted norm. And let me give you a little Hawaiian history here. Hawaiians came on canoes. If Fa'afafine Mahu was the standard, then why, when Westerners first came here, there were 1 million Hawaiians? Representative McDermott. So they had to have had a standard of procreation that exceeded the norm. So it couldn't have been the norm as being Mahu was the norm.
Thank you so much, Jonah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions? Representative Har.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alan Cardenas.
I have a question for Mr. Kaovai.
Okay, why don't we continue? Representative Ward.
Jonah, you mentioned something that I guess implied that if we made the decision tonight, you would feel that would be unjust and...
Oh, slap to the people. Slap on the face of the people. If there was a decision made tonight after having something, almost 20,000 written testimonies, and I don't know what the count is now on the verbal testimonies, but if you guys made a decision tonight, I mean, you guys would either have to, I gotta see you guys' IQs. I wanna see the IQs to see how intelligent that you all are to be able to sit down after all of this and to be able to make a decision.
From,
well, you can share your IQ with me if you want to, Chair, but Representative
Ward, I think it has gone to an inappropriate testifying.
We're all half brain dead, but I think he has a point about making a decision after.
I mean, that'd be incredible. I mean, congratulations if you'd be able to do that, but I don't think there's any fairness in that process.
Thank you very much. I think you have outlasted your welcome. Thank you.
All right, Chair. Thank you for welcoming me.
Thank you, Representative Har.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Alan Cardenas. Good evening, Mr. Cardenas. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your testimony. Okay, so it's my understanding you are a pastor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there is a religious exemption in here. So why would you, what is your issue with this bill if the exemption protects pastors and clergy from performing solemnization?
Religious exemption for?
For solemnization.
Well, a religious exemption that we're looking at is the protection for the church. I think when you look at the number of legislators and others, look at the church as a building or a place that all we have is a Sunday sermon, baby dedication, weddings, and funerals. The church is people. We are teachers, we are students, we are parents with parental rights, We are, like Tanari Ma'afala, policemen, we're professionals. This does nothing to guarantee them the protection of their ability to practice their First Amendment rights. So it's inadequate. It's not enough. It's all shibai. It doesn't do nothing to protect them.
Okay, but I'm going to ask you this again, and I've asked this of other testifiers, so I'm not picking on you. If we have First Amendment protections, then what are we concerned with, and why would you be concerned?
Well, one of the concerns I had is what would happen in the education system. Many of you remember House Bill 2141 or Senate Bill 2596. It was a bill to have a proposed Hawaii Safe School Act. If this was enacted in the state of Hawaii, which basically will help to support Section B in SB1 in gender neutrality, it would be very problematic. And basically, when you look at this proposed agenda, when you look at Section B, it fails to adequately protect the First Amendment rights of free speech, because we can't construe widows, widowers, ma'am, and sir, and so forth. And that's what the bill is asking in Section B. And that would be very problematic in schools. That would be problematic for us in the teaching of a curriculum in Sunday schools, etc. Basically, what it says is interpretation of terminology to be gender neutral. And I'm sorry, I'm not the Attorney General. I never went to college. But based on the research that I have, and in this language here, when necessary, we need to implement the rights, benefits, protections, and responsibilities of spouses under the law of this state. All gender-specific terminology, such as husband, wife, widow, widower, or similar terms, shall be construed in a gender-neutral manner. This interpretation shall apply all sources of law, including statutes, administrative rules, court decisions, common law, and any other sources of law. We cannot do that.
Okay, thank you. Representative Har, did that address your
sorry,
question?
but what section of the bill were you talking about?
This is page number 4, section 572B.
Okay, thank you very much.
So it would infringe on our First Amendment rights of free speech based on this.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you, Representative Brower.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Same person?
A question for a new testifier.
Okay, Representative Brower.
If I can ask a question of Suzanne King and Tambry Young, whoever feels more qualified to answer the question, but if both of you can come forward. We could probably satisfy thousands of testifiers in the last few days and avoid a lot of conflict if we didn't call this union of a same-sex couple a marriage. And if we kept the biblical tradition for marriage between a man and a woman and a marriage for a same-sex couple, if we called it, for lack of a better name, like I can't believe it's not marriage, can you tell me why it's so important for you, if we could avoid the federal government question, why it needs to be called marriage? Why can't it be called Civil Unions 2.0?
Well, it can't be called anything but marriage for the federal benefit purpose.
But if we avoided the federal question, does it still need to be called marriage in your mind?